Part 111. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 1104. Jia Yan slowly understood what the Territory Lord said, but at the same time, he was even more horrified when he heard it. Territory Lords are only qualified to hold the position if they are at the galaxy level, but not all galaxies can hold the position. From what the other party said, it can be imagined that only the top masters at the galaxy level can become Territory Lords. Old Senior, you said you would take care of the next Domain Lord, right? Jia Yan was suddenly startled and asked this question quickly. Seeing his reaction, the other party showed a slight smile and said, yes, you are also one of my favorite candidates. Even in this era, you are the only one. Me, the Territory Lord candidate, Jia Yan was slightly shocked, but thinking about the terrifying strength that the Territory Lord might have, his heart became hot again. But don't be happy. Let me explain everything here to you in detail, and then you can decide whether to be a candidate for this era. In Tianji's faint words, Jia Yang Qiao's face changed again and again. Not long after, a black stream of light flew directly from the ice crystal star. After this stream of light, the ice crystal star seemed to have lost its previous spirituality. Although the red boulders in the polar region were still there, they no longer had any sense of energy. Oh, I finally know the beginning and end of all this. Jia Yan kept flying towards the super-fast ship in the stream of light. At the same time, Jia Yan almost smiled bitterly. He finally understood that the so-called candidate for Territory Lord was almost a near-death mission. That day, Ji left brainwave power in the solar system. This was not his only move. This method was used almost everywhere in the entire Orion Arm. It was even because of the brainwave power left behind that he was able to cause the formation of the brainwave in the entire Orion Arm barrier. And it is also because of this method that Orion Arm will continue to be under the influence of his energy and occasionally form species unique to Orion Arm. Evolved beast. Even Jia Yan, who is now a mosquito, can be regarded as a descendant of that predecessor. When he learned the news, Jia Yan's head was like thunder, and he couldn't recover for a long time. The reason why Tianji did this was very simple, it was for the sake of inheritance. And it's not to pass on his cultivation mantle, but to pass on his important responsibility as a Territory Lord to the next generation. For countless years since the birth of life in Orion's arms, there have been a total of 3 Territory Lords, all 3 of whom are superb masters with almost invincible strength. What is even more unique is that each of these 3 creatures is an evolved beast. And precisely because every time the Orion Arm Territory Lord appears, this Orion Arm will cause a great deterrent, so every time the Orion Arm does not have a Territory Lord, other star regions will come over and attack fiercely, intending to exterminate the evolved beast clan, or even go further. Completely wipe out the entire starfield creature that gave birth to the evolved beast clan. In order to protect and resist, each generation of evolved beast domain lords fight desperately, which leads to more intense hatred, and so on. The previous generation of Territory Lords, that is, Senior Tianji, reached the Territory Lord level as soon as he became a star. He even became stronger and stronger as he fought with the enemy. In the end, it led to the death of several Territory Lords from nearby star regions, and even those from several regions. All life in the star field where the Lord is located is extinct, in exchange for the stability of the Orion Arm for tens of thousands of years. Jia Yan's heart couldn't help but tremble when he thought of that kind of horror, the feeling of constantly talking about the destruction of the star territory. You must know that now, he cannot even explode an ordinary planet. The most he can say is to completely exterminate all life on the surface of the planet. But Senior Tianji has a lot of brainwave power in this Orion Arm. He has said that about the current war, if I don't show up, he will show some tricks. This is good news. Jia Yan sighed deeply. For this extremely terrifying senior, he really felt like he was looking at a god. Tianji died as early as 200,000 years ago. Although he killed many domain lords, he still died in the end. He did not want to say the cause of death, but a creature that had been dead for 200,000 years could still affect now. Even the barrier surrounding the entire Orion arm is still functioning well. To Jia Yan, what is this if not a god? As for Jia Yanli as the candidate for the next territory lord, there is no other more powerful evolved beast. He said that 4,000 years ago there were two evolved beasts as powerful as Jia Yan, but they were both killed because of a conspiracy used by the outside world to prevent the Orion arm from giving birth to a domain lord. Combined with his words, Jia Yan thought of another battle fought by the Orion arm to stop the enemy 4,000 years ago. It seems that the current great empire rose because of that battle. Now it seems that the simple invasion campaign by external forces that I thought was not that simple at all. Even I have been exposed now. The forces and strong men who are really paying attention to the Orion arm may have started to pay attention to me. Jia Yan smiled bitterly. In fact, he was right. If he said that he really paid attention to the power of the Orion arm during the invasion wars from the outside world, it would be a lie. They only did it because it was impossible for the Orion arm to continue to give birth to domain lords, so they did not do it themselves. There is no need to come to the Orion arm and confront the brainwave power left by Tianji. You must know that the brainwave power he has retained until now was still able to threaten the clone of the Zerg Queen decades ago. Who would come to trouble him if there is no benefit? Jia Yan's body was extremely fast and he arrived at the place where the super-fast ship was. Senior told me that my first priority now is to become a star. If I can become a star, I will have a certain ability to protect myself. There are already very few territory lords in the nearby star fields, even at the galaxy level. Moreover, few forces know about the legend of territory lords in the Orion arm. After all, 200,000 years is too long, and only those ancient forces know it. Remember, there is a domain master race here. Therefore, if Jia Yan has become a star, the news will not spread to the outside world so quickly. Even if it does spread, when other forces react and come to trouble Jia Yan, his strength will be further enhanced. And all this is a race against time. You said it was a race against time, but you gave me such an item. Jia Yan smiled bitterly, entered the body of the super-fast ship, and took out a small crystal core. This crystal nucleus is not big, only 2 meters in diameter. To Jia Yan now, it is almost like a glass bead to a human being. But inside this crystal core, red mist flows, and the energy inside is almost terrifying that Jia Yan has only seen in his life. This is not a mineral or an artificial creation. According to the senior, it was extracted from the white dwarf star and can store energy to a great extent. And inside this crystal, the energy was left by the predecessors, just to support the brainwave power. It has been almost exhausted now. Of course, even if it is exhausted, in Jia Yan's view, it is almost a terrifying power that makes him stunned. Jia Yan felt that his appetite and desire were extremely strong. Jia Yan entered the superfast ship and looked at the surrounding starry sky. The senior's brainwave power has dissipated, but Jia Yan understands that he is in many places within Orion's arms. If you search carefully, you can find his presence, and he may even contact him, so he doesn't feel any sadness. The war has reached this point and has progressed to the point of affecting the foundation of the Orion arm. Senior also said that if I didn't show up, he would take action. But now that I have appeared, I have to take on this responsibility. Hey, Territory Lord. That's all. I'm already the strongest Orion arm. If I can't shoulder this responsibility, who can? Fight. Jia Yan reluctantly put away the red crystal core, and then piloted the superfast ship and suddenly flew away in the direction of the Asta Empire. From today on, the war will be centered on the Earth and slowly reverse. The reason for this change is naturally because of Jia Yan. But Jia Yan had almost no interest in this war. Not to mention the strength of his true body, which is unmatched by the intruders from the outside world, there is still a fundamental power in the Orion arm. Jia Yan estimates that even if a star enters, it might not be possible. Neither can get away with it. So he didn't mind the war at all. But he didn't mind and still worked hard. Because every second, there are creatures dying. Some of them even stood on the same front with the people on Earth and Jia Yan before, but now they are slaughtered by the enemy unwillingly. Jia Yan's perception of the other civilizations of the Orion arm is relatively friendly. Even the great empire did not feel too uncomfortable in previous interactions, so he is ready to fulfill the promise of the clone, and even more to fulfill the promise of Senior Tianji's promise to restore the Orion arm to its former glory. Ah! Help! The enemy ship is catching up. Asshole, we all fled to the depths of this universe and you still refuse to let us go. Fight them. Somewhere in the starry sky where there are no stars left or right, about 100 civilian ships are running away, using up all their energy. But even if they used all their strength, their speed was still no match for the 2 warships chasing behind them. Although there are only 2 of these 2 warships, their combat strength is much greater than that of the 100 civilian warships in front of them. When a cannon fire is fired, several civilian warships are always bombarded. Destroy. In fact, this fleeing civilian fleet, which initially numbered more than 5,000 ships, even built a huge ecological circle. Even if it does not replenish energy for hundreds of years, it can continue to survive in the universe. But it is precisely because of their size that they are easily discovered by the enemy. 2 invader battleships discovered them. There were only 2 enemy warships. It turned out that this huge civilian fleet also fought back against them with a sense of fearlessness. What I didn't expect was that the civilian ships were too weak, even though most of them were rebuilt and equipped with simple weapons. The artillery system, compared to the enemy, is like a child, without any resistance. So the huge fleet of 5,000 civilian ships turned out to be one ship after another. After only 2 months of pursuit and escape, it turned into 100 ships now. You bastards, you won't even let the children go. No pop-up novel website. The copyright of all novels included in this site belongs to the author. The plot content and book reviews are his personal behavior and have nothing to do with the position of No Pop-Up Novel Network. All novels and novel reviews on this novel site are spontaneously updated and uploaded by netizens. It only represents the personal behavior of the publisher and has nothing to do with the position of this novel site. All authors are requested to abide by the National Internet Information Management regulations when publishing their works. We reject any pornographic novels and will delete them as soon as they are discovered. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 1105. In front of civilian warships, the already advanced biochemical force warships were completely crushed. The feat of 2 ships against 5,000 was not staged here. These Orion arm natives are crazy, ha. Go crazy if you're crazy. If you weren't crazy, they wouldn't turn around and attack us. It would be uncomfortable to chase them one by one. In the 2 biochemical Starfield Force battleships, ordinary soldiers looked at the hundreds of civilian ships escaping in front of them, and none of them cared about each other's life or death. This kind of war between civilizations is inherently endless. They still think that they can get some good results by escaping to the Earth civilization. Now that they have not arrived, most of the people are dead. Even if the Earth wins a battle, will it still dare to come out to rescue them? Humph. Don't talk about the Earth. I get angry when I talk about this Earth. If the superiors hadn't told us to be careful and don't get close, I would have suggested that we just go there and kill them. I don't believe that their victory is real, so why are giant mosquitoes so ridiculous? A group of alien biological soldiers, while chasing and killing, talked about the Earth. Some of them looked fearful, some looked disdainful, and some simply didn't believe that the previous Earth victory was a head-on victory. But as the two warships continued to pursue, in front of the hundreds of warships in front of them, the space was slightly distorted, and an aircraft reaching more than 500 meters appeared in the visible universe. This aircraft has an extremely extraordinary appearance. It is designed to be almost flat. Although it is not in line with the mainstream, you can tell at a glance that it is definitely not an ordinary technological creation. The 100 Asta civilian ships will collapse at this time. Ah, there is a blocking battleship ahead, so why not fight with him? But this warship seems to be extremely advanced. We can't even defeat two ordinary enemy warships, let alone this one. There is no future if you don't fight. The commanders in the civilian fleet almost collapsed one by one, and they were about to charge towards the newly emerged aircraft. But the next moment, they were all stunned. Don't be afraid. I am a supporter from Earth civilization. Next, I will help you annihilate the enemy. From inside the aircraft, a sound of brainwave power was heard by hundreds of civilian ships. The voice was calm and full of reassuring power. Then under the watchful eyes of a crowd of people, the battleship suddenly disappeared again. When he appeared, he was already in front of the two enemy ships. Huh? What kind of aircraft is this? There is no such aircraft in the fleet that was just chasing. The commanders inside the two enemy warships behind them were stunned when they saw this strange aircraft appearing. They did not recognize this strange aircraft. No matter where it comes from, it's not from our side. We just need to destroy it. The victory along the way made them feel that any aircraft in the Orion arm could pose no threat to them. The two warships almost instantly launched into a fighting posture, and the main guns were in a charging state to start firing at any time. But before that, a wave of brainwave power filled the air directly inside the strange aircraft, as if the torrential sea water covered the sky and the sun. Puff 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 puff. Countless voices appeared in the two battleships. In less than a second, the two enemy warships that were very close to each other stopped moving. If anyone could go inside these two battleships to watch, they would be absolutely horrified to find that the creatures inside the battleships were completely dead, with their heads exploding one by one. Okay, you don't have to worry about their pursuit. Next, I will go to the Asta Empire. You can continue to go to the Earth civilization, or you can wait here. It won't be long before the Asta civilization will be restored. Inside the weird aircraft, the peaceful boy spoke calmly again. Then this flat aircraft disappeared directly in front of 100 civilian ships. They are all dead. Who was that just now? How did I feel the power of the other person's brain waves? It's unfathomable. 1,000 kilometers away can make people inside the warships of external forces emit light. Of course it is unfathomable. He must be the giant Mosquito clan rumored by the Earth civilization. This battle between the flat battleships not only represents the giant Mosquito, which has finally moved towards the trend of the entire Orion arm, but also represents that an existence that has given the entire enemy forces a huge headache has finally taken action. 10 days later. In the sky, a light like a thunderous explosion resounded directly. Run away, this monster is too scary. We are already the last fleet stationed in the Asta Empire. If we escape again, the Asta occupied territory will be lost. This is a huge responsibility. No matter how great the responsibility is, can it exceed your life? If you don't run away, you will lose your life. In the sky, extremely fast warships kept escaping in the deep starry sky, but the warships behind the team still exploded with a bang. A large part of them stopped flying while flying, and all the creatures in the battleship died. The number of this escaping fleet was 3,000. In normal times, these 3,000 warships from outside civilizations would definitely be able to directly wipe out a large Orion arm civilization. Even if 3,000 warships were deployed, the rate of extinction would be extremely fast. But the 3,000 battleships that were supposed to be powerful were now like lost dogs, fleeing crazily one by one without any thought of counterattack and chasing the enemy behind them. So what could cause such a pursuit? If any creature in Orion's arm saw the scene at this moment, it would definitely be extremely horrified. Because the one chasing behind this group of battleships was actually just a single powerful creature. This creature has an exoskeleton that reflects metallic luster, a representative slender mouth part, and faint compound eyes, making it look extremely intimidating. His body was more than 300 meters long, and when he was flying between heaven and earth, there seemed to be an energy from somewhere that made him extremely fast. When the enemy warship fled far away, a vague light flashed in his compound eyes, and his entire huge body entered the twisted space. When he appeared again, he had already arrived behind a large wave of escaping battleships. With a sweep of his brainwave power, another battleship was wiped out. This is actually a space talent. I can't beat it, and I absolutely can't escape from a strong space talent. What should I do? Damn it, doesn't this Orion arm have powerful combat skills? Why would someone with the talent of space appear and be so proficient in it? All the enemy creatures in the battleships all have eyesight, and they can see that the huge creature has the talent of space, but they know that this is useless. The opponent still appears next to them again and again, and when the brainwave power is activated, they cut off a piece of life. Ah! Help! In each battleship, the soldiers who could not escape died. This scene was like a replica of the previous killing of the creatures in Orion's arms, except that the two sides were now reversed. Asshole, don't think that if you master the talent of space, we will be afraid of you. Suddenly, from within the 3,000 battleships, 500 to 600 meter creatures that reached the semi-star level flew out together. They brazenly attacked the pursuing creature. But their expressions were extremely solemn, because when these 3,000 battleships encountered the enemy in front of them, a colleague with the same strength as them also took action, but he was killed by the opponent in one blow. Otherwise, how could they escape? But now that they can't escape, the two half-star creatures discussed and decided to attack together. It might be easy for the opponent to kill one half-star creature, but it would not be possible for two. Two ordinary half-stars attack together, do you think it will be useful? Naive. They took action together, but the flying monster with mouth parts, which was one size smaller than them, spoke calmly. Then the two monsters who had the courage to rush out unexpectedly saw the creature with mouthparts that was still far away, stepping into the subspace with one of its front legs. When he appeared again, the figure that did not run away but rushed directly towards the two of them came closer. Death, a semi-stellar creature, saw the opponent coming, and a crazy crisis filled his heart. But at this moment, he could only bite the bullet when facing a strong opponent. The other half-star creature hesitated slightly, and when it slowed down, it actually fell half a step behind. But just this half step made him see a scene that almost stunned him. The half-star creature who is his colleague, despite his strength, at this moment, he was half a step away from the creature with mouth parts, and then his attack was not launched at all. The opponent's front foot had already penetrated directly with a speed that he could not understand. The heads of colleagues. The monster's blood spattered in the vacuum. This sight caused the semi-stellar creature to scream in horror almost instantly. This is impossible. He was already very impressed with the enemy's strength, but the strength shown by the opponent was at the sub-level. He originally thought that even if he could not defeat his 2.5-star level enemies, if they attacked together, he would be able to return them all intact. Made it happen. But the scene before him made him doubt his life. But there is no need to doubt this life, because the moment he saw his colleague's skull was pierced through, the other front foot penetrated his forehead instantly like a bullet. In a face-to-face encounter, two half-star creatures died immediately. Indescribably powerful. Ah, the three leaders are all dead, what should we do? Run away. Almost half of the 3,000 fleet disappeared in an instant. The scene of 2.5 star classes dying together shocked the enemy soldiers in the entire starry sky, so they fled and counterattacked. But all this is of no use. In the face of the almost overwhelming strength, any of their actions seemed to be in vain. 10 minutes later, the entire pursuit route, which spanned millions of kilometers, was covered with the remains of battleships, even the battleships of the biochemical starfield forces that looked complete but had no breath of life. In less than 20 minutes, the single-mouth monster completely wiped out 3,000 invasion warships from the biochemical starfield forces, including their 3.5-star commanders. This is the giant Mosquito. Battlefield literature. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 1106. It is extremely small, but its speed is not slow, because it is a battlefield interview ship produced by the Great Empire. Now inside the interview ship, there is a woman who looks very similar to an Earthling woman, but her figure is more graceful and her hair is all green. The woman was facing the camera, almost stunned, and seemed to be frightened, looking at the scene in front of her as if talking to herself. Everyone in the audience, did you see it? Did you see it? This is the race that the Earth civilization believes in, the giant mosquito race. No one knows where they come from, and no one knows the bottom line of their strength. Look at the strength of this giant mosquito clan. The enemy has 3,000 battleships and 3 terrifying half-star level experts. Under his control there is no resistance at all. The green-haired woman was obviously an anchor. As an anchor, she couldn't reveal her subjective emotions too much, but now she couldn't help it. This senior giant mosquito once said that he will restore our Orion arm. Dear viewers in front of the media, we are saved. Boom. Almost as soon as this live broadcast network was transmitted to many endless and distant places at an extremely fast speed. The entire Orion arm was like a depth charge dropped. Completely detonated. Crazy, really crazy. Countless people, like this anchor, are even countless times more emotional than her. The ancestors of the giant mosquito clan who believe in the gods of the Earth civilization have taken action. Haha, it's so powerful. External creatures, you have seen it? This is the background of our Orion arm. 4,000 years ago, you did not invade successfully. 10,000 years ago, you did not invade successfully. You even failed to invade countless times since records began. Success, this time, there is also a strong person standing in the way. Haha, with the help of this senior, I feel that the situation of the battle will turn around. It's not your feeling, it's destined to flip. That's great. Ahem, hello everyone upstairs. Let me tell you something, I am an Earthling who believes in the giant mosquito clan. Wow, capture a wild Earthling alive. I am the beauty of Harbin civilization. Mr. Earthling, will you marry me? If you want to be married, the dowry will be 100 million Imperial Yuan. Throughout the Orion arm, many creatures went completely crazy because of what happened in the Asta Empire. You can chew one can chew. This is not only a victory, but also represents a reversal of the situation in the first battle. Judging from the performance of the giant mosquito clan, it is still unfathomable. Among the strong men of the external invading forces, almost the strongest ones are the 3.5 stars. The entire Orion arm creature has seen hope because of this battle. Jia Yan, who caused this scene, did not have any surprises. Haha, you can see that the internet seems to have come alive. In the superfast ship, Jia Yan used top-notch network equipment made by Z-Bala to enter the network through intrusion. He looked at a post on the network and was extremely sad. Before he took action, the entire Orion arm network was in mourning, and no one felt that the Orion arm had a future. But now he only took action once, and even Emperor Osto was not completely rescued, which made the entire Orion arm people go crazy. And what's going on with those who believe in the giant Mosquito clan? It's really dumbfounding. Jia Yan also saw the giant Mosquito faith that was slowly sweeping across other civilizations on the internet. He suddenly felt 10,000 mosquitoes running past his head. He really didn't know whether to cry or laugh. But this is a voluntary matter for others, and Jia Yan will not influence it. Moreover, his giant mosquito body has not appeared in front of everyone so far. Jia Yan thought that for the sake of the clone Jia Yan that might appear next, he should not go out and show his true body anymore. The Orion arm creature thinks he is mysterious. Then we will carry out the mystery to the end. That's right, the future avatar will travel to the outside world. My true body cannot stay in the Orion arm forever, so it's good to keep it a little mysterious. The more Jia Yan thought about it, the more he felt it was right. Okay, the next step is to completely help the Asta civilization and clean up this place. Jia Yan calmed down his emotions, then took the super-fast ship into the subspace and headed towards the occupied area of Asta faster. In fact, the next thing is relatively simple, because the previous 3,000 enemy fleets are the assembly of all the battleships from the biochemical starfield forces to the Asta Empire. But here, Jia Yan still cared about something, so he went straight to a fallen planet. When he arrived at the fallen planet, Jia Yan felt it. This external force has gone too far. Jia Yan's heart became slightly cold almost instantly. It turns out that on this planet, which was originally a habitable star, now there is no living thing left, and the corpses of Asta people are everywhere. Not only adults, but also the elderly and children alike, died in extremely horrific ways. Some creatures even suffered from rotten stomachs and brain explosions, making their deaths very painful. Of course, only a few were killed by violence. After all, even if the enemy had that force, they would not waste time killing them one by one. More Asta people died because of changes in the surrounding environment. Jia Yan felt the surrounding environment, and then his eyes flashed. Sure enough, this planet has been transformed into the environment of the outside universe. Only those with at least heaven-level strength can resist it. This kind of environment naturally has no impact on Jia Yan. In fact, the external cosmic environment has more energy than what is inside Orion's arm. If it is uncomfortable, it is better to say that the current Jia Yan is more able to absorb the underworld in the air. The power of Hades. But this kind of environment shouldn't exist within Orion's arms, at least it shouldn't exist until the creatures adapt. Jia Yan moved his feet and came to a newly opened flat area on the planet. Below this area, an extremely huge machine is placed here. It is this machine that through extremely complex transformations of the environment of the entire planet forms the appearance of the outer starry sky bit by bit. Moreover, this machine also has a function, which is to use special methods to directly offset the terrifying pressure that exists in the Orion arm. Jia Yan didn't know what kind of principle this was, but he knew that this machine should no longer exist. Jia Yan's brainwave power suddenly opened up as he raised his front foot lightly. A moment later, the huge group of machines covering an area of more than 50 kilometers collapsed directly amidst bursts of loud explosions, and even suffered a series of explosions, and no longer had any function. The feeling of the surrounding air slowly recovered again. Jia Yan looked at the corpses scattered all over the place and shook his head with a long sigh. It seems that such scenes must be the norm in the occupied areas. This external civilized force has gone too far. Now, it's time for you to accept your punishment. Jia Yan's figure quickly flew up from the planet, and others would naturally take over the next thing. Of course, Jia Yan had already informed the Earth that when the war was over, there were too many benefits that the Earth could control. Too much. Senior Giant Mosquito has recovered another star. This star was originally an extremely rich commercial star of the Asta civilization. Now that the senior has taken it back, let's go up and see what the enemy-occupied area will be like and the people's lives. What does it look like? Ah. Why? Everyone on the entire planet is dead. Damn intruders, they are so heartless. Ah, audience, please forgive my emotional outburst, I can't help it anymore, woohoo. The entire Orion Arm media saw the scene in the first enemy-occupied area. Although everyone had vaguely heard about it before, it was the first time that the scene was actually seen on the media with their own eyes. All creatures were silent. After the silence, the entire Orion Arm still survives, or the civilizations that are not occupied explode. Asshole. Intruder, you went too far. I'm going crazy. I'm going to join the army tomorrow. I don't care whether he dies or not. Damn the invaders. I swear to be incompatible with them. Jia Yan did not expect that the first habitable planet he recovered would cause the entire Orion Arm to feel as if a magnitude 10 earthquake had erupted. But he knows that this kind of situation will happen again and again in the future, and will shock others again and again. This is what wars between civilizations are like in the first place, not to mention that the Orion Arm is already faintly isolated from the outside world, and some civilians passing through the outside world. There is no need to abide by the law of protection here. He was very fast and recovered one star after another. In fact, Jia Yan only flew over some stars and did not land, because there were no traces of invading creatures on them. After all, after knowing the outcome of that war, they did not want to. Maybe he dared to stay in the Asta Empire. A full half-month later, Jia Yan set foot on the Rulan Empire, which borders the Asta civilization. At this point, the entire Asta civilization has basically been restored. Even if there is still some danger, Jia Yan will not care about it. After all, his time is extremely precious. Ben, on behalf of the Asta civilization, I sincerely thank Senior Giant Mosquito for his help. Asta civilization will always remember the help of seniors, and at the same time, I will establish Giant Mosquito to teach me our national religion. When Jia Yan stepped into the Rulan Empire and carried out the next recovery operation, Asta was exiled on the remaining fleet government outside Mars in the solar system. Someone immediately pointed out the Empress Asta, who was Jia Yan's neighbor back then. The Empress Xiao issued a statement of thanks. This is the first step for the Empress to quickly regain her power. Although there are people behind the scenes, if she does not do this, there will be too many forces in the Asta Empire after the restoration that want to compete for the supreme throne. Xiao, who is within the Earth civilization, first stated that they who have contributed to the defense of the Earth will naturally gain political power. After all, this is tantamount to having the shadow of the giant Mosquito clan behind them. No matter how powerful other forces are, how dare they fight with Xiao? Xiao, well, it seems that her royal family will have another turmoil in the future. Battlefield Literature. Reborn as an Interstellar Giant Mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 1107. But this has nothing to do with me. Next, it's Rulan civilization's turn. After arriving at Rulan civilization, Jia Yan felt the undercurrent of the possible origin of the Asta Empire, thought about the Empress Wei Wei, and then ignored it. Because he has a greater mission to accomplish. By now, that force will probably slowly come up with ways to deal with me, right? The appearance of Jia Yan was not only like meeting the savior of the civilizations within the Orion Arm, but also a sense of disbelief at the biochemical power of the invader. This, who can tell me, what is the origin of this giant Mosquito clan? Close to the side of Uwangsuyevo's defense line, there is a huge metal creation made of steel. The momentum of this creation is so terrifying that anyone who sees it will involuntarily feel a sense of irresistibility. This is also true in reality. This metal object is an interstellar battle fortress that was slowly assembled after external forces invaded the Orion Arm and scavenged resources from batches of parts and batches of the Orion Arm. The interstellar battle fort is a common war weapon in the powerful star field. This kind of terrifying weapon cannot be compared with the likes of battleships. At this moment, in this interstellar battle fortress, a group of invading creatures are holding a high-level meeting. Sir, we really can't find out the origin of this giant mosquito clan. We don't even know how he appeared on the Earth. Yes, according to some information from Earth civilization, this species is like some kind of blood-sucking creature on Earth, but the size and strength are too similar. We don't think giant mosquitoes can be an Earth species, but within the Orion Arm, there is no species similar to the giant mosquito anywhere else. Don't know anything? Huh, what do you do with your intelligence department? Now let me take a step back and tell you, since you have difficulties with your intelligence, then I won't care about his origins. Now let's talk about how to deal with him. Well, sir, according to our observations and intelligence, it seems that only one giant mosquito appears at a time, and the one that appears now seems to be about the next level of strength, but what is certain is that his talent is absolutely he is at the genius level, and killing someone beyond his level is as easy as drinking water, so if you want to deal with him, you need a more powerful half-star level, or you need to set up a dragnet to surround him and kill him. We are the only commanders who are stronger than the average half-star class. Do you want us to do it ourselves? Huh, this giant mosquito family is not worthy. Anyway, you can try the second method first. Here you go. Within a month, this giant mosquito will definitely die. Yes. In this interstellar battle fortress, the voices of powerful men were conveyed one after another, and after the discussion was completed, more warships took orders and headed in all directions. The adults are unwilling to do it themselves. I don't think it's a matter of the strong man's face. It's just that they are not sure about the giant mosquito and they just want to save their lives. In a single man-strong battleship, a creature with terrifying aura looked at the interstellar battle fortress behind, feeling angry inside. That starry sky is the location I am responsible for. Now that the other party has captured the Asta Empire, if I don't respond quickly, my position will not be guaranteed. This creature was extremely depressed. Several commanders were afraid of their lives. How could he be willing to take risks, especially when he saw the terrifying giant mosquito and could easily win against 3.5-star creatures at the same time? This made him even more desperate. For heart trembling. He didn't want to take risks, but he couldn't do it now, so he had to bite the bullet and do it. My strength is more than twice as strong as the average half-star captain. I am a medium-sized half-star existence. Even if the opponent's strength is terrifying, if he confronts me, he probably won't be able to kill him instantly. But I won't fight him head-on easily. As long as I arrange traps and encirclement methods, even if he is powerful, he will definitely be dead. He made a good plan, and then the single-man battleship also entered the subspace and headed forward. The more advanced the civilization, the less secret it is to subspace. The response from the external invading forces was faster than Jia Yan expected. While they sent troops to support the territory of the Rulan Empire, they detached their fleets and flew away in the direction of Earth civilization. Huh? You actually went to Earth? Do you want me to be distracted? In the starry sky, Jia Yan looked at the intelligence data, and his heart became solemn. Currently, the civilizations around the solar system have not yet been recovered, so they can feel like they are in an uninhabited land. But when I recover the Rulan Empire, they will have only one route to attack the Earth. Then I will not be so restricted. But they thought this would allow me to get back to defense quickly, which was a mistake. When Jia Yan learned that the other party was sending troops to Earth, he actually ignored it. His body was not resting, and he continued to attack the territory of Rulan Empire. His figure was almost everywhere in the entire star field. Why? Isn't this giant mosquito family the protector of the people on Earth? They didn't even fight back. Our plan is to wait for him to return to defense, continue to send troops to harass the Earth civilization, and then prepare a killer trap outside the Earth civilization for him to step out of, but now he doesn't care about the Earth at all. How to break this? The entire top leadership of the external invasion force was extremely shocked by Jia Yan's reaction. But now that the action has come, they don't care so much. If the giant mosquito gives up on Earth civilization, then they will take advantage of it. The storm of giant mosquito sweeps in Rulan Empire is still going on. On this day, Jia Yan attacked a star that he had visited before. Oh, it's a scene of mourning all over again. Those foreign invaders really deserve to die. Looking at the pieces of debris in front of him, as well as the corpses of many people from the Rulan Empire, Jia Yan shook his head. He encountered the scene many times while cleaning planet after planet, but every time, he couldn't help but frown. However, he didn't show much emotion. He just sighed for a while and flew directly towards a certain direction of the planet. There, another piece of metal machinery was roaring to transform the environment. Destroy it? Jia Yan said lightly, then his brainwave power exploded, plus a stab with his front foot. Within a few seconds, the entire area felt like the end of the world, and a cloud of dust exploded. The machine was instantly destroyed. Okay, counting the time, it should be almost done. Jia Yan looked at the starry sky, then stepped into the interstellar sky. There, a flat aircraft quietly docked on the star. Jia Yan didn't go back to defend the Earth, not because he really didn't want to go back, but because there was no need to go back so early. Jia Yan had long expected this kind of scene. After all, since he was the only top combat power in Orion's arms, his concern for the Earth would definitely be exploited by the enemy for calculations. So now he has already thought of a way to deal with it. They just think that I can't return quickly, right? But these outside invaders may not know that although there is no subspace system in our Orion arm, they have created another system that does not exist in the outside world. Gravitational wave system. There was a strange light in Jia Yan's eyes. He knows that the gravitational wave system is still in a state of research and development for the surrounding external civilizations, and in the Orion arm, it seems that because several powerful seniors have developed gravitational waves in the Orion arm, so gravitational waves channels are everywhere, and the Great Empire has fully utilized the gravitational wave system in the past few hundred years, at least to be able to move quickly. The invading forces probably haven't gotten this information yet. After all, this kind of system has just entered the initial trial stage in the Great Empire. It won't play any role in the war, so it's simply not used. Generally speaking, if there are gravitational waves like the one I experienced when I left the Orion arm, almost no other material can enter the shuttle except for the body of the evolved beast. However, the system used by the Great Empire is different. It is like a subspace system. In the subsurface, if you do, although the speed will be slower, you can still enter by aircraft. Jia Yan entered the superfast ship, then clicked on the operation panel, and poured the gravitational wave system map and system that the Great Empire had given him before into the superfast ship system. Originally, he planned to use his body to directly travel through gravitational waves, but since Zibala helped prepare the superfast ship, he would try to use it. Maybe it would be more comfortable than traveling by himself. After a few seconds, the system was successfully imported. After all, the superfast ship was a supership that Zibala had been preparing for a long time. The external system was already extremely mature. Start, enter gravitational waves. Jia Yan pressed the superfast ship's travel button. The superfast ship suddenly moved like a monster, chopping through the waves in the sea of stars. Then there seemed to be a white strange cold appearing in the space. The power of Jia Yan's brain waves quickly poured out, helping the superfast ship engine, whose system was not well matched, to open up the gravitational wave space. A large ray of light appeared in front of his eyes. This scene reminded Jia Yan of the wonderful scene when he rode gravitational waves to the northern star field. Find the book garden. Sure enough, it can be opened. Although it is unstable, there is absolutely no danger. Enter. Jia Yan was slightly happy. He didn't care whether the superfast ship would explode and decompose when it entered. Anyway, even if it decomposed, his body would be absolutely fine. With safety guaranteed, Jia Yan entered the gravitational wave in front of him without any fear. You must keep flying at the shallow level, it's too scary to go deep. The light in front of him became brighter and brighter. When Jia Yan looked back, the starry sky behind him had long disappeared. At this time, the entire superfast ship had entered the gravitational wave. The entire hull was trembling, but there were no signs of disintegration. Sure enough, the superfast ship can enter. Jia Yan felt slightly happy, and then his eyes flashed fiercely. You want to attack the Earth while I'm out? Just wait for me. The speed of the gravitational wave system, even when flying on the surface, exceeds that of ordinary subspace flight. Of course, the level of danger is also higher, and even the flight trajectory is unstable. However, with the relatively mature basic theoretical support of the Great Empire, the current superfast ships will not be in great danger or deviation. Solar System, I'm back again. Seeing that there was no danger, busy man Jia Yan breathed a sigh of relief and restored the automatic operating system in the superfast ship. No pop-up novel website. The copyright of all novels included in this site belongs to the author. The plot content and book reviews are his personal behavior and have nothing to do with the position of No Pop-Up Novel Network. All novels and novel reviews on this novel site are spontaneously updated and uploaded by netizens. It only represents the personal behavior of the publisher and has nothing to do with the position of this novel site. All authors are requested to abide by the National Internet Information Management regulations when publishing their works. We reject any pornographic novels and will delete them as soon as they are discovered. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 1108. Jia Yan's attack around the Earth civilization is absolutely necessary, especially the gateway of the Asta Empire. If the enemy forces here are not eliminated, the Earth will be under threat from the enemy at all times. Therefore, it was not a temporary move for him to recover the Asta Empire and the Rulan Empire first. But now within the Asta Empire, forces organized into armies and took over the planet that Jia Yan had recovered in the name of the Empress, which was considered to be temporarily stable. The Rulan Empire has just captured most of the land, but there is still a small half that has not been recovered. Because the enemy fleet in the Rulan Empire was completely destroyed by Jia Yan, there is no counterattack. In addition, the exiled troops of the Rulan Empire are already returning. On the way, it won't take long for most of the country to become a buffer zone to stop the enemy. In this way, the Earth will be safe, at least there will be no more enemies rushing into the solar system casually. And Jia Yan can also attack directly to the outside world in this situation. After all, although he is powerful, he cannot defend his home and attack at the same time. Jia Yan in the gravitational wave system is so fast that he travels faster than the speed of light almost all the time. But no matter how fast it is, it will take some time to return to the solar system. The solar system at this time is a different scene. The entire galaxy is actually much more prosperous than before. This Earth official, we only need to rent this Neptune satellite for 10 years, and you have not developed this satellite at all. You actually want us to pay so much money. This is too. I'm sorry, sir, this is the new policy recently announced by our planet. As you know, every inch of our planet's land is precious now, even for the satellites here. On the farthest planet in the solar system, beyond Neptune, a large number of alien ships are scattered here. Neptune, which was supposed to be uninhabited, seems to have ushered in its own spring. Countless aliens want to buy satellite sites on this planet. However, the Earth's policies have been adjusted. Land can be rented at most, and cannot be purchased permanently. This makes many the company chickened out. Sir, if your company doesn't want to rent, please give the opportunity to others. There are still many people queuing up behind you. The Earth officials in the discussion were a little impatient. There have been too many aliens recently. He, an official who was originally sent to Neptune to supervise the land as if in exile, was actually extremely busy, so his attitude was not good. I rant. The creature under discussion was a giant more than 5 meters tall. In his eyes, the earthly official in front of him could be crushed to death with one slap. But he didn't dare, and even wanted to treat her nicely. You must know that the people on Earth are now slowly becoming one of the most noble races within the entire Orion Arm, especially their land. Because of the protection of the giant Mosquito clan, countless aliens want to acquire it. As a result, recently, the entire Earth, even the Kuiper Belt, has many alien companies wanting to lease it. The giant had no choice but to rent a small piece of land of 10,000 square meters on a small satellite of Neptune. You must know that there is not even a ghost on it. In 10 years, he did not know how much it would cost to develop the land alone, let alone the land rental price. It almost made him cry. Damn it, if you don't rent land, you have no right to live in the solar system? If you want to get the protection of Earth civilization, you can only rent it. The giant paid the money in great pain. He hates that his race is different from that of the people on Earth. If their appearance is similar, a man from Earth might fall in love with his daughter, and then their family will be like some of the families of Asta women who married into Earth. No need to. Instead of living on a remote Neptune or a satellite of Jupiter, they moved to Mars or Earth. But things didn't work out. A clan of giants like him, who were huge and rough-skinned, could not win the aesthetic recognition of the people on Earth, so they could only rent land in despair. Humph. Okay, go out after paying the money. I have another guest to meet, the official urged lightly. Then, in helplessness and anger, the giant sat down on his chair and received the next buyer with the same expression. The people on Earth have been too popular recently and have been praised too highly. Even though the government continues to publicize it, the people on Earth, who have just recovered from the life and death battle and have finally relaxed their mentality, are all too proud. As it is now, aliens are almost considered an inferior race in the eyes of Earthlings. Although such a situation is not what the Earth's high-level people want to see, even if the Earth's people are arrogant, there are still countless alien creatures coming to take refuge. They have no way to deal with it. They can only allow ordinary people to continue to expand. If their attitude is even worse, can always drive away some aliens, right? This is not because there is a problem with the high-level policies of the Earth, but because the arrival of aliens has slowly formed a hidden crisis on the Earth. That's the race issue. It is even a big issue of survival and death for people on Earth. In the past few days, racial issues have become a hot topic recently. Alien creatures have begun to marry Earthlings in large numbers. In the already crowded cities of the Earth, you can actually see many people from the Asta Empire, Venton Empire, and even people every day. They are humanoid beauties or handsome guys from the Great Empire. They flood the cities on Earth, and many even cause conflicts with the locals. It is foreseeable that if they really combine with people on Earth and then give birth to offspring, will their offspring be Earthlings or aliens? This topic spread almost like crazy on the internet. Not only ordinary people organized themselves to boycott that kind of marriage, but the government also introduced policies and began to restrict it. But the problem still exists. It's crazy. These aliens can't be driven away. They come one by one and say that our Earth civilization is too backward, and they want to apply for asylum one by one. They are just scolding us and taking advantage of us. But the money, materials, and technology they brought here are all very useful to our planet. What should we do? While various events have caused big problems on the Earth civilization has also benefited greatly from this crisis. War wealth is a huge opportunity to make money, and the Earth civilization, the only civilization that can defeat the enemy, plus the protection of an unfathomable strong man, has this huge advantage. Even if the Earth civilization is not willing, but money is still flowing towards the Earth like water. Hot money has gone too far recently, and our banks are panicking. That's right, and the value of our Earth UN is doubling and doubling almost every day. Fortunately, we don't have much trade with the outside world, otherwise the impact on our Earth would be terrible. The appreciation of the Earth UN represents the wealth of the people on Earth. Now, any Earth person who has some spare money in their hands, if they are willing to exchange it, might be able to become a rich man in an inferior civilization. Of course, no one is willing to do this. After all, the war outside is in full swing, and those who go out now are the fools. Facing the increasingly prosperous business and financial achievements, people on Earth are trembling. Yes, they are trembling with fear. Too fast development is also very scary. God knows whether this development will be short-lived. If so, its collapse will definitely be an unbelievable crisis. But people on Earth will soon no longer have to worry about this problem. Compared with future crises such as finance, the real crisis is always war. What? There are 5 more fleets attacking my solar system from all directions. There are actually 5 fleets here. Where is Senior Giant Mosquito? Is he back? No, it is said that Lord Giant Mosquito is still fighting in the Rulan Empire. What should we do? When one day, the Earth's intelligence system belatedly acquired the forces of the biochemical star field and sent 5 fleets towards the solar system, the entire upper level of Earth civilization was shocked. You must know that a few months ago, Earth civilization was only attacked by 3 fleets, and those who were threatened with life and death, even Master Jia Yan, seemed to disappear in that battle. And now, there are actually 5 fleets coming to attack the Earth civilization? What should we do? We have never had formal contact with Mr. Giant Mosquito. It's hard to say whether he will come to help. Do we really want our planet to resist on its own? How can we do it? There is no other way. Let's find a way to contact Senior Giant Mosquito. But what I'm afraid of is that even if we contact him now, he won't be able to come in time. On this day, when the entire Earth civilization sounded the alarm again, the entire solar system felt like a sudden silence. Well, Mr. Earth official, I don't want the land I rented, and I'm willing to pay the liquidated damages. The giant monster who rented land on Neptune came to the Neptune real estate office and said this to the Earthling official who had looked at him with his nose. Wait a minute, this, Your Excellency aids, right? Ahem, Your Excellency, we Earthlings are very welcoming to outsiders. Now you can consider taking a look at this crisis. It's normal for you to be worried, but our Earth. Okay, Mr. Official, I have already said that I don't really believe in the ability of the people on Earth now. Please withdraw your investment. I'm sorry. Facing the giant's request, the earthly officials gritted their teeth and nodded with ugly expressions. You must know that when the news of the reinvasion of the biochemical star territory forces came, his Neptune organization received at least more than half of the divestment applications, and even this divestment has affected the entire financial system of the Earth. Humph, aren't they just wealthy aliens? Just wait, the Earth will definitely be able to survive this crisis, and when the time comes, you will still have to come and beg me. The official's face was ugly, and he looked at the giant creature leaving with a cruel heart. And similar scenes are happening almost everywhere in the solar system. Withdrawal of investment, beautiful alien wife running away, half-constructed factory shutting down. Scenes like this became the main spin of the Earth at the moment when the news of the enemy's return came. Every Earthling who has benefited before is wailing. No matter how they wail, the 5 alien fleets are still full of murderous creatures, slowly outflanking the Sun Star from 5 different directions. No pop-up novel website. The copyright of all novels included in this site belongs to the author. The plot content and book reviews are his personal behavior and have nothing to do with the position of No Pop-Up Novel Network. All novels and novel reviews on this novel site are spontaneously updated and uploaded by netizens. It only represents the personal behavior of the publisher and has nothing to do with the position of this novel site. All authors are requested to abide by the National Internet Information Management regulations when publishing their works. We reject any pornographic novels and will delete them as soon as they are discovered. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 1109. The Earth is in chaos, and the former prosperity and chaos have now turned into a decadent disadvantage. What was originally a civilization may have completely collapsed at this time. Not to mention blocking the enemy, even ordinary people's livelihood will completely collapse. But at this time, the Earth reacted extremely quickly. Retired personnel of the Earth fleet will be quickly demobilized into the military, reserve forces will be deployed in the war zone, and ordinary people will return to their respective posts in accordance with the mission of the last war. Following countless similar orders, the people on Earth actually put aside the tragic situation of their fortunes plummeting, their wives leaving, and even their families being destroyed, and returned to their posts. In the past few decades, Earth civilization has experienced too many ups and downs, as well as too many similar scenes. The reaction at this time made all the civilizations and empires who were paying attention to the scene look at them with suspicion. When enemy sightings were reported at the edge of the solar system, the first batch of Earth warships had already formed a fleet and were heading towards the enemy's shadow quickly. The current Earth fleet is completely different from before. After several battles and Jiayan's systematic training, the entire temperament and training level have become terrifying. Everyone, listen up, this time there are 5 enemies, so our Earth fleet will be divided into 5 areas. In this case, even if the giant Mosquito Senior will return to rescue, it is impossible to take care of all the battle situations. So this is still an extremely difficult battle for us. Everyone must fight the enemy with determination to die. The actions of the Earth fleet not only surprised the people of all major civilizations, but also the great empires. Everyone could see that the Earth fleet at this time was different from the Earth fleet 2 months ago. In a certain battleship, a young man who looked very young was lined up with a group of young people of the same age against the background of space. He comes from Mars, and his family is a well-known fighting family. He even has a relationship with the assassin everyone is talking about. His name is Doha. He was not born during the battle on the Grey Star that year. Although he cannot remember what happened back then, his parents proudly said that he was born in the fleet flying to Earth. The Lord Assassin has also seen him. This is something he has been proud of since he was a child. You kids, please don't hold us adults back. This battle is not only about our life and death, but also about our families, and even the life and death of the entire Earth civilization. It's between this battle, you making a mistake may even cause the destruction of the entire civilization on Earth, do you understand? Clear. Doha answered loudest. As a member of a fighting family, he has received good fighting education since he was a child, and the most important thing here is obedience. He understands this, and unlike other children who worry about death, he thinks it is his honor to die in battle like his parents. Yes, in the previous Battle of Mars, his parents died at the hands of the enemy as combatants. In the eyes of others, he became an orphan, but he didn't think so himself. He even regarded this as when he grew up and had to take over the important responsibilities of his parents, so he signed up for the position of a young soldier on the battleship. Having been trained since he was a child, he easily passed the soldier's examination. I want to fight. This is my parents' last wish, and it is also the time for me to prove myself. After accepting the commander's instruction, Doha looked at the space scenery. He is actually an Asta person, but his parents joined the Earth forces of the Gray and Yellow Star back then, so that he now only thinks of himself as an Earth person. However, the difference in race still makes him reach the level of at the early stage of heaven level. He left the surrounding Earthling children far behind. Because of his physical differences, he was assigned as a mecha combatant. This is a super combat weapon made from the top technology of the Great Empire. Although its performance is not very eye-catching in the starry sky where battleships and strong men are rampant, it can actually play a great role. Doha also heard from the commander that in the Great Empire, there are powerful pilots who can operate a mecha alone and destroy a battleship. Of course, that was just a legend, and what the other party defeated was only a basic civilization warship, which was incomparable to the current enemy. But Doha decided that he also wanted to become a top fighter. Hello, we are all new combatants. Let me introduce you, my name is Sci-Fi. Just as Doha was quietly looking at the outside scene on the bridge, suddenly a pleasant voice sounded beside him. He looked back, and then his whole body seemed to be struck by thunder. Because in front of him, a girl wearing a female mecha combatant's light armor seemed like a beautiful scenery. Against the background of the deep tunnel of the universe, her skin was like snow, and her appearance was charming and beautiful, standing in front of him. Hello, my name is Doha. Doha has never seen such a beautiful girl since she was a child. Let alone her appearance, let's just say that the environment on Mars is harsh. How could a girl with such beautiful skin appear? The other party seemed to be 1 or 2 years older than him. Seeing that Doha was nervous, she didn't have any special expression. Instead, she came to Doha and talked to him about the mecha pilot. Doha was a little nervous at first, but he gradually stabilized his mood. After all, as a young driver, the first thing is his mentality. If he can pass, it means that his mentality is less prone to problems. Doha soon discovered keenly that the brainwave power of this earthly girl Sci-Fi was far beyond his imagination. As an early-stage heaven-level person, he couldn't find out the opponent's strength even if he wanted to detect it. Moreover, her appearance and conversation are very elegant, and one look at her shows that she is born into an extraordinary person. Doha, do you think our planet can still win this war? Sci-Fi suddenly asked. I think it's okay. After all, we still have Lord Assassin. Hey, speaking of it, your last name is similar to Lord Assassin. Haha, I do have the same last name as Lord Assassin, but we have nothing to do with each other. Do you think that if Lord Assassin doesn't come back this time, can we win on our own? As for this, I think it's quite embarrassing. Doha didn't hide his dissatisfaction with the war situation. He didn't have any pessimism on his face, he was just talking about the situation. After listening to Doha's words, Sci-Fi was silent for a while, then thanked him and turned to leave. When did Miss Sci-Fi come on board the ship? I haven't seen her before when I was teaching newcomers to the battleship. Doha looked at Sci-Fi's young and graceful back, frowning slightly. His intuition told him that the background of the other party might not be that simple. He never thought that the Sci-Fi had more than a simple background. That's an understatement. If it were possible, the Earth fleet would be willing to sacrifice an entire fleet for her. Because her identity is that of a member of the Geo family whose status has declined slightly on Earth. Her real name is Jiachi. As a young girl who had grown up a little, she began to slowly become active in the Earth's military. If going out to the Kawa defense line before was an impulsive move, this time was the first time she decided to go to the military after she had grown up. Actions from the front. Although many people are worried, there is no longer any objection when the Earth is at war. Mom and Grandma are still so worried about me. I haven't seen that I have grown up and have reached a high level. Do they just not believe me that much? See Izuoki, no. I should say Jiachi, came to her room and lay down on the soft bed. This is a specially arranged competent room. Although it is not much larger than other people's rooms, the environment here is still much better than that of ordinary combatants. My strength and talent are not as good as those of brother Jiarong, but I have my own way of fighting, that is to join the military. Brother Jiarong wants to take the path of a strong solo player like my uncle. Unlike them, if you take the military path, you will definitely have your own sky. The path that Jiachi wanted to take started a few years ago. At that time, Jia Yan took her to fight in the outer solar system. Then she entered the weak Earth fleet and saw her father operating the fleet's orders. Screen. It's a pity that my uncle is missing. Otherwise, I would have asked him to teach me Pinguo Wei's tactics. If I can master it, my military path will be broader. At the age of 17, Jiachi already has a hint of mature girl charm, especially her face, which is much more beautiful than Jialin back then. She did not encounter too many rejections when she joined the army this time. After all, the child has really grown up, and everyone in the Jia family knows that if she really refuses to do what she wants to do, she will find a way to do it herself, so I can only reluctantly agree. However, for her safety, not only is the mecha she controls, it is a super mecha from the Great Empire that was specially given to Jia Yan as a gift that year. There are even several protectors from other civilizations in the entire fleet, including the most powerful one is the venerable one from the second strongest civilization in the Orion Arm, the Kinmen civilization. Princess Jiakai, this war is no small matter. If the seniors of the giant Mosquito family do not return, we will really have a narrow escape. When that time comes, I hope that the princess will put the overall situation first and activate the escape system of the mecha. That is from the concept technology of the Great Empire has the effect of entering the subspace for a few seconds. Although the escape direction is uncertain, it is enough for you to escape millions of kilometers away. Please. Okay, I understand. If things come to that point, I will do it. Hearing a female voice in her ear, Jiachi shook her head in frustration. In Jiakai's battle room, there was another alien woman who looked to be in her 20s. Her strength is similar to that of Jiakai, at the peak of heaven level, but she talks like Jiakai's elder. Her name is Pipa, and she comes from a middle-level civilization. She was able to meet Jia Yan's clone in person, which greatly benefited her civilization. Kain, I'm so stuck, I feel like I didn't write what I wanted to write, I'm sorry. RW. No pop-up novel website. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 1110. Princess, your mother said this to me personally. Your temper is exactly the same as when she was. You need me to give you some advice. Otherwise, if something happens to you, we will all be very sad. No, are you all sad? I don't believe it. Jiachi suddenly became unhappy when she heard this. Especially people like you respect our Jia family because my uncle is here. Now that my uncle is missing, you won't be sad because something happened to me, she almost shouted loudly. Alas. Pipa sighed and walked out of Jiakai's battle room. Jiakai looked at the other party's figure, and a flash of regret appeared in her heart. She felt that she shouldn't have said those words. Aunt Pipa came to the Jia family when she was a child. Although she came with a purpose, she really became like family with them. She not only protected her mother, but also established a good relationship with her. But the recent performances of civilization have made Jiachi uncomfortable, even the civilization behind Aunt Pipa. When her uncle Jia Yan disappeared, those civilized representatives who used to communicate with each other and gave gifts every day no longer talk to them. Dealing with the family. This is true even for people on Earth. When Jia Yan disappears, the Jia family's status becomes awkward. Although many high-level people on the Earth know that the Geo family has a subtle relationship with the giant Mosquito clan, many high-level people on the Earth still gradually lose their relationship with the Geo family. So this time, Jia was relieved to go into battle and wanted to create another future for the family. My uncle is not dead. And Jia remembered what her mother said before she took her to the secret room at home. Senior Assassin is also somewhat related to my Geo family. Although my mother doesn't want to be related to her, she is not as far related as Uncle Jia Yan. She also gave me the pseudonym, Sci-Fi. When Jia thought about her mother's mystery, she felt that her family was really magical. Wasn't her uncle so powerful and related to the giant Mosquito clan? But these are not what I want. In the future, I have to rely on my own hands to gain status, not just on my uncle, nor on any giant mosquito. Jia didn't like the giant mosquito assassin. She didn't have any likes or dislikes. She just didn't like the fact that he suddenly appeared and replaced her uncle Jia Yan. Doha has been on the bridge for several days in a row, seemingly wanting to wait for the beautiful girl he saw before. But whether it was on the bridge or in the training room for new combatants, he didn't see each other. They were riding on an Earth battleship from the Great Empire, which was the mothership of this squadron. Its advanced level was extraordinary. With a length of more than 2 kilometers, it has more than 2,000 people inside, including logistics. It is not easy to find a person in such a huge warship with many restrictions in various areas, so Doha was disappointed several times. Sky. Oh, I don't want anything to happen with that girl, I just want to see her again. Doha waited in the bridge in despair again that day. After a full hour, he walked towards his combatant room in despair. He wanted to give up. Hey, Doha, what a coincidence. Just when Doha was extremely disappointed, a clear female voice shocked his whole body and turned his head. Sure enough, behind him was the figure of the girl he had been dreaming about. Sci-Fi was still wearing the driver's light armor today. The extremely fitting armor made her look full of heroism. Hello, Sister Ci. Giggle, you're still stabbing me. Sister, it doesn't sound nice. Just call me Chi. Chi let out a crisp laugh and then came to Doha's side. Doha's heart beat almost loudly. He smelled the faint fragrance of the girl. As the number 1 novice pilot in this battleship, he was at a loss and didn't know what to do. Chi, what army are you in? I'm also a mecha combatant, but I haven't seen you in the past few days. Hearing Doha's words, Chi seemed to have something on her mind, so she just followed him to the edge of the bridge and looked at the space scenery outside the sky window. I haven't been feeling well these days, so I will train with you next time. She smiled and said, I hear you are the most powerful among the new pilots in this class. In the future, when the war breaks out, you have to protect me. Ah. NBP, looking at Ci-Chi's big blinking eyes, Doha's heart beat even more intensely. He quickly responded loudly, I will definitely do it, even if it costs me my life. Ha ha ha, I'm kidding you, I don't need your protection. Ci seemed to be in a better mood, and then she chuckled crisply. Doha didn't know what the sentence meant at first, but by the afternoon, he knew it. Because Ci entered the training sequence for the first time that afternoon, and then almost everyone was stunned. She alone challenged the top 10 new drivers in the virtual training machine. She challenged them one by one and won extremely easily. In the end, she even let 10 of them play together, 1 against 10, but she won. Immediately afterwards, several top official pilots in this battleship who were responsible for training new pilots came out to fight with her, and she still won a great victory. In the end, a humanoid woman of unknown ethnicity who looked to be in her 20s came to fight with Ci. After fighting for more than 10 minutes in a dizzying manner, Ci was narrowly defeated. Humph, it's boring, I won't play anymore. When Ci saw the woman, she felt extremely uncomfortable for some reason. When she was defeated, she came out of the virtual training cabin and walked away. It seems like she doesn't need my protection, really, but I will get stronger. Doha watched Sci-Fi leave the field while almost everyone was stunned, and secretly clenched his fists. Just now, he fought with Sci-Fi and was wiped out almost in one move. That was a fundamental gap that made him almost despair. Jia-Chi, who had just lost, returned to the combatants room angrily, but she didn't want Pipa, who had defeated her, to follow her in. Princess, your mecha fighting skills are getting better and better, but if you can control your emotions more when fighting, you will definitely perform better. Maybe I won't be able to beat you next time. Pipa came to Jia-Chi's side and comforted her like this. I understand, please go out, I want to be alone for a while. Jia-Chi bulged her mouth and refused to look at the other person lying on the bed. Pipa had no choice but to withdraw, while Jia-Chi looked at the steel ceiling in the room above her. The amazing performance of others in the past may be due to her good status in the eyes of others, but only she knows that she has wanted to be as powerful as her uncle since she was a child. She has gone through many arduous trainings that other children can't even imagine. To have the current strength. But her strength is still not heaven-defying, and there are not many people who can defeat her. How great would it be if I had the strength of my uncle? No. If I had the strength of the giant mosquito, she extended her delicate fist eagerly. Jia Yan, who was hundreds of millions of kilometers away, didn't know that his niece's mentality had become unstable at this time, so he just kept his head buried in the road. But he also understood that with the enemy attacking from 5 sides, the earth would definitely explode again. But this kind of frying pan is also a good thing for Jia Yan. During the recent battles of the Earth civilization, he also discovered that the people on Earth actually had a different feeling in the endless pain, and that was tenacity. They don't know yet that I can completely defeat the enemy. Now it must be a labor of war. However, I think this kind of thing is also a training. It can also let the people on Earth know that status does not mean the actual right to speak. Other civilizations will be convinced. Earth, for the time being, it is because of me that this incident will definitely make the people on Earth understand their biggest problem. Inside the super-fast ship, Jia Yan's compound eyes flashed faintly. That is because there is too little foundation. Without me, the Earth will be in crisis at any time. A civilization does not even have the depth to start a war, and the mother planet will be in crisis at every turn. If this situation does not change, even if it is strong, the Earth may still fall into crisis. Jia Yan did not communicate with the Earth's high-level officials when he left this time, and he did not even have any communication before he appeared, so the Earth would not know that he was coming. Then in this war scenario, they would consider more, even if the Earth in the future, Jia Yan will once again become popular because of him, and he will definitely not only think about money and pleasure like before. I saw the changes in the Earth some time ago through the internet. Even though they have money, they are still rectifying their business instead of improving their military facilities and to set up a foundation system. This is really too much. No-brainers. Jia Yan has seen that when alien capital poured in heavily some time ago, people on Earth may have felt that they still had giant mosquitoes as a foundation, so they gave up increasing military investment and instead turned to land speculation. Jia Yan saw there is dissatisfaction here. So now it can be regarded as giving them a little pain. The superfast ship is extremely fast in the gravitational wave system. However, the superfast ship often makes strange noises in this place full of light. It seems that even if it is made of good materials, it is still impossible to use it within the gravitational wave. Too long. But it's not like the war can't be brought to an end. Finally, as Jia Yan hurried on, the first fleet of biochemical starfield forces was caught up by Jia Yan. Huh? The gravitational wave system has detected a large amount of energy response from the outside world. It seems that we have caught up with the first batch. Inside the superfast ship, Jia Yan's eyes flashed slightly. Then he raised his head, turned to the superfast ship control console, used his brainwave power, and the ship began to slowly fly out of the gravitational wave channel. Just outside the gravitational wave channel, sure enough, there was a fleet of 1,000 battleships, flying rapidly in the universe. Thanks to the few book friends who gave me tips. These few chapters are at a low point, so it will be better after a while. I hope everyone can subscribe and support with genuine subscriptions. Thank you. No pop-up novel website. The copyright of all novels included in this site belongs to the author. The plot content and book reviews are his personal behavior and have nothing to do with the position of No Pop-Up Novel Network. All novels and novel reviews on this novel site are spontaneously updated and uploaded by netizens. It only represents the personal behavior of the publisher and has nothing to do with the position of this novel site. All authors are requested to abide by the National Internet Information Management regulations when publishing their works. We reject any pornographic novels and will delete them as soon as they are discovered. Reborn as an Interstellar Giant Mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 1111. Quick, our mission is to capture the solar system before the giant mosquito returns to Earth civilization, and then set up a dragnet to kill him immediately upon his return. All the creatures in this fleet knew that every second counted at this moment, and they all operated the warships at their respective positions with extremely solemn expressions and flew forward. But just as they were performing their duties faithfully, the team responsible for radar detection suddenly screamed. "Ahead, giant, giant, giant mosquito." "How come?" A series of screams came from the fleet. But at this moment, the fleet had no time to react at all. All they saw was a crack in the space, a bright light emerging, and then a flat aircraft suddenly rushed out of the space. By the time a group of battleships came to their senses, this flat battleship had already rushed into the huge fleet group, and its brainwave power exploded. Thousands of battleships were in complete chaos. On the outer edge of the solar system, 5 enemy fleets were surrounding this place. But the giant mosquito, the self-proclaimed protector of the people on Earth, did not fight back. This scene has caused countless alien civilizations to speculate that giant mosquitoes are the protectors of people on Earth. This is what the people on Earth said themselves. In their view, the giant mosquitoes in the past may have appeared collectively when people on Earth were in a state of despair. Hallucination, and this time the attitude of the giant mosquito does not seem to be that of the protector of Earth civilization. Then this battle is a bit intriguing. If the value of the people on Earth in the eyes of the giant mosquito clan is not that great, the status that Earth civilization has now is definitely not worthy of it. Even the current crisis on the Earth is enough to cause this unknown destruction. Come on, let's go. What kind of misfortune has happened to our family? We thought we would be safe on Earth, but we didn't expect that we would still have to escape. The Earth civilization is so good at telling lies. They also said that giant mosquitoes are their protectors. It's just bragging. A civilian warship flying in the universe. This battleship used its fastest speed, and the feeling of flying was no weaker than that of ordinary military battleships. You must know that this kind of control is not so easy for ordinary people to obtain. It can be seen that the owner of the battleship has some tricks. Even if he has the means, the current owner is still running away. This was a rich man from a middle-level civilization. He had tried his best to obtain the right to live on Earth for his family, but he never expected that he would run away again after not staying in a stable life for long. "Dad, I'm afraid." Inside the battleship, a little monster that looked like a panda hugged the giant panda monster next to it tightly. "Don't be afraid, there are just a few enemy warships. If they dare to show up, Dad will punch them to death." "Really?" "Dad, I saw battleships reacting on the radar." "Go over and hit them." The little panda believed his father and pointed to the detection radar screen inside the battleship. "Oh my God. The giant panda instantly jumped up like a cat whose tail was stepped on. Then, regardless of his image in his son's eyes, he tremblingly operated the battleship, turned around and fled in the other direction. Damn, why did you run into someone else's battleship? It's over, they are chasing you. This panda creature was almost crazy, driving the battleship while constantly looking at the radar screen. On the radar, there were 1,000 fleets pursuing from behind, and each one was traveling in a group. Accelerated by the influence of gravity, they were chasing after him at a speed 5 or 6 times faster than his warship. It's over. The giant panda tycoon almost screamed. But just as the opponent was approaching 1,000,000 kilometers away and preparing to bombard their warship, the red panda's son barked again. Dad, look, if you punched them, they all stopped moving. The red panda looked at his father with cute eyes, almost admiring him. Huh, the giant panda stared, and then saw the scene of the pursuit from behind. It seemed to have stopped. The entire fleet seemed to have hit a wall and could no longer make any progress. What's going on? He was startled, and then he saw that several battleships lost their heat source just like that. Here, is there an invisible existence blocking the enemy over there? This panda creature was almost trembling with shock. He couldn't figure out what kind of existence could hide from his detection radar, and what kind of creature could detect the rear in such a short period of time. Chasing the fleet and carrying out such horrific killings. You must know that the fleets of external forces are almost invincible in the Orion Arm. Giant Mosquito. He is the only one in Orion's arms who has this ability, but that giant mosquito should be in the Rulan Empire. This panda creature was extremely curious and finally couldn't help it. After seeing that the reaction of the warships behind it completely disappeared, it turned back to the battlefield. This is actually total annihilation. When he returned to the rear millions of kilometers away, he saw only the wreckage of 1,000 battleships. The entire starry sky is almost filled with battleships, and most of these battleships are intact with almost no external damage. Giant mosquito, it must be a giant mosquito. I guessed wrong. No one said that there is only one giant mosquito. If there is a giant mosquito in the Rulan Empire, there is another one coming here on the Earth. Such a situation is absolutely inevitable, it's not an accident. This Earth is actually protected by 2 giant mosquitoes. Oh my God! The panda creature almost gasped, and then he didn't have much thought at all and stopped running away. No, there might be more than one. If so many giant mosquitoes really appear, even if the ones that come later are not as powerful as the first one, the civilization of the Earth will definitely be stable. Why should I leave? He quickly turned the battleship around and returned towards the solar system. Dad, are we back to Earth again? That's great. The Chinese people on Earth give me candies and say I'm a national treasure. The red panda laughed happily. Regarding the battles outside the solar system, people on Earth originally did not know about it. But when the giant panda creature who rushed back told what he saw to the people on Earth who were guarding the Kuiper belt, everyone was full of murderous intent. The Earthling soldiers who were preparing for a bloody battle were stunned. All the enemy ships in this area were wiped out. How is that possible? This rich man from the panda civilization also said that it might have been caused by giant mosquitoes. Could it be that, as he said, the giant mosquitoes that appeared this time were not one at all, but 2, and they were both so powerful? All the defending soldiers were shocked. But what shocked them was yet to come, because not long after, another news came. There is definitely more than one. In the other direction, half a light year away, another enemy fleet there has also been eliminated. It seems to be another masterpiece of the giant mosquitoes. My God, if we observe according to the current situation, there might be 3 or more giant mosquitoes. Otherwise, how could they be so fast? With their help, we people on Earth have nothing to fear. We are simply safe. Each and every Earth soldier was originally prepared to fight to the death, but now they actually heard that the enemy had been directly wiped out by giant mosquitoes before they even appeared. Their fighting spirit couldn't go away. Although it was not that comfortable, they were all very excited and wanted to fight. Knowing that a war would really break out, they knew that with their own strength, the possibility of escaping death was still very high. Soon, the idea that the giant mosquito clan had not given up on Earth civilization at all, but because they had a plurality of them spread throughout the star field, was spread like a flying breeze. The life of the people on Earth is so good that they are protected by such a mysterious and powerful race. God is so unfair. Half of our civilization has been wiped out. Why doesn't a powerful race come to protect us? I want to join the Earth citizenship. Who can tell me how to join the Earth citizenship? Within the Orion Arm network, Earthlings have once again become a topic of conversation. Countless businessmen who have just given up on commercial activities on Earth regret it extremely. But when they turned around and wanted to continue the contract according to the original plan, they found out that the Earth had restricted them, and the price of cooperation had also increased tenfold or even 20-fold. In this way, businessmen and alien government agencies that had abandoned Earth civilization before regretted it. And such news was also passed to several Earth squadrons that were blocking the enemy. What? Did more than one giant mosquito clan come this time, and they also eliminated several enemy fleets that came near our solar system? On the huge mothership of the 5th Squadron near the Kuiper Zone, Jackie made a sound of surprise. Then she looked at the sky in silence. Princess, don't be too disappointed. I know you want to fight, but the enemy this time is absolutely terrifying. If you really go to the battlefield, and anything may happen. So this time the giant mosquito clan has a senior to take action, which is not a bad thing, understand? Pipa is right next to Jiachi. As someone who has watched Jiachi grow up, she knows very well what the little princess in front of her is thinking. I'm not disappointed. It's okay. If we don't go to the battlefield, my mother and grandma won't worry. Jiakai smiled bitterly. She had always thought that this time she would really go on the battlefield. She had practiced her mecha skills day and night, and was already confident that she could defeat Pipa, but she never expected that this would be the result she was waiting for. Just when Pipa was about to say something to Jiachi, she suddenly heard the sound of the communicator. It shouldn't be on the emergency channel. If there's nothing serious, they won't use the emergency channel to find me. As soon as she picked up the call, Pipa's expression changed wildly. And Pipa, what's wrong? Seeing her expression, Jiakai also felt what happened. After she put down the communicator, she asked weirdly. Pipa's face looked very ugly, and seemed to be a little pale. Princess, you will be happy now. Our enemies have appeared 30 million kilometers away. It seems that the giant mosquito seniors have not appeared to stop the enemy on our way. No pop-up novel website. The copyright of all novels included in this site belongs to the author. The plot content and book reviews are his personal behavior and have nothing to do with the position of No Pop-Up Novel Network. All novels and novel reviews on this novel site are spontaneously updated and uploaded by netizens. It only represents the personal behavior of the publisher and has nothing to do with the position of this novel site. All authors are requested to abide by the National Internet Information Management regulations when publishing their works. We reject any pornographic novels and will delete them as soon as they are discovered. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 1112. Hearing Pipa's words, Jiachi's originally disappointed eyes lit up and she almost jumped up. That's great, ahem, no, that's a pity, but when the enemy is coming, we can't escape, right? Oh, I'm so scared. Jiachi looked eager to give it a try, but she said exactly the opposite. Well, if you want to fight, listen up. You must listen to our arrangements when the time comes. This mothership cannot go to the front line. It will only pick up some leaks. When the time comes, you will follow me. Although you are good at simulated combat, but actual combat is still far away, do you understand? Pipa was helpless. Okay, I know, Jiachi responded casually. Seeing her look, Pipa smiled bitterly again. This small squadron of the Earth fleet has a total of 800 battleships. This is because Jiakai is here, so the number of this squadron has been increased to the maximum. What they have to face is an enemy fleet with a number of 1,000. If we look at the above battle, not to mention this mere 800 battleships, even if it is 10 times more, the Earth fleet may not be able to defeat it. Enemy. After all, that is the essential difference. But they have no other choice. Behind them are 3 important resource ore stars that have just been mined. The minerals inside are too important for Earth civilization. If they withdraw, they may even affect the Earth's future war reserves. This is how war is. It can be said that every inch of territory must be fought for. If we retreat now, we may be the front end of a complete defeat in the future. Although the giant Mosquito clan will help, no one knows the attitude of the giant Mosquito clan. Maybe they are just here to have fun, and then leave when they are about to die. Wouldn't the entire Earth civilization be doomed? After all, no one has contacted the giant mosquitoes now, so the Earth's attitude towards them is not clear at all. It is better to seek help from others than to seek help from yourself, so this battle is bound to take place. Not long after, all the soldiers and officials on the entire fleet knew of the enemy's appearance. The fleet, which had been excited by the appearance of the giant mosquito just now, suddenly heard that they still wanted to fight, and their morale inevitably dropped a little. Of course there are people like Jiakai who are bent on war, but not everyone wants war to break out. After all, war means killing people. Doha, are you here for training again today? Come and practice 10 games with me. In the virtual training room, Doha met Jiakai. Well, Zyoki, it's better not to fight today. I can't beat you. Doha was almost helpless. Originally, he thought that with his own strength, there was no rival among the young people of the same age group, but unexpectedly, he met the Thorn Zyoki in front of him in the mothership. Compared with her mecha skills, he was directly depressed. Let alone fighting, being able to take 3 of her moves would cause a sensation now. That's right, until now, he has not taken any of the 3 moves from stabbing Zyoki. Humph, are you scared? Let's see. Today we are not competing against mechas, but against real people. I know that your strength is at the early stage of heaven level. I will not bully you and suppress my strength to the early stage of heaven level. In this way, if you are still afraid, you are no longer a man. Zyoki looked young and cute, puffed out her chest, and challenged Doha. Looking at the opponent's delicate figure, Doha was stunned for a moment. Real person PK? This is not good. Ha, I'm not afraid of any girl. What are you afraid of? Zyoki got angry. Okay then. Under the envious and jealous eyes of all the new pilots, Doha blushed and went to the driver's platform to have a real battle with Zyoki. He was very nervous, because in close combat, he would inevitably encounter the opponent, right? In this case. The truth is, he thought too much. When Doha and Zyoki started fighting, and were slapped by each other in the first moment, Doha fell to the ground. Doha only felt 10,000 zombies running above his head. This eldest lady, with such terrifying strength, why are you making trouble with a child like me? Woohoo! Doha was about to cry. Although the new things on the mothership were happening amid laughter and laughter, everyone's hearts were still as heavy as a mountain. Because the enemy fleet is getting closer and closer. One day later, the intelligence machine at the front finally transmitted news that made everyone extremely nervous. The enemy fleet appears. It seems that this time the enemy, because several fleets were completely wiped out, was extremely cautious in their actions, especially when approaching the outermost line of defense in the solar system. They almost stopped at every step, so it took so long. But after they discovered that there were no signs of giant mosquitoes around them, the entire fleet relaxed. Then this enemy fleet of 1,000 ships slowly moved towards the Earth squadron. The fleets on both sides were in fighting postures. The difference is that the Earth side is in a defensive posture, while the other side is in an offensive posture. This Earthling has put up a serious defensive formation this time. According to the last intelligence, he couldn't even put up a defensive formation at all. Haha, this shows that this kind of indigenous civilization has slowly evolved. But even if it has evolved, it is still indigenous. That's right, as long as we kill them quickly and set up traps around here, we won't be afraid of the giant mosquito clan coming over. You know what we are going to set up, but the famous black hole defense facilities in our biochemical star field. If they are set up properly, even a powerful half-star level expert cannot break through, and even if it detonates, a half-star level one can also be killed. Jia Yan's black hole technology came from the biochemical empire, and the biochemical empire was just a created race of the biochemical star territory force, so the biochemical empire's black hole technology naturally came from this external force, and even his black hole tactics were absolutely perfect. If it weren't for Jia Yan's subspace talent, he would be far behind them simply in terms of controlling and utilizing black holes. But this time they plan to set up a black hole trap, trying to lure Jia Yan out and then kill him. First of all, they have to destroy the Earth squadron in front of them. As for this squadron, they have no fear at all. They even regard it as a small stone encountered on the road, which can be easily stepped on and exploded. After all, the previous war is still vivid in our minds. If it weren't for that Jia Yan and the giant mosquito that appeared later, the Earth would have been wiped out long ago. Even any one of the three fleets could easily destroy the Earth civilization with powerful weapons. And it's even more like this now. It's just 1,000 versus 800, it's basically a matter of one round of artillery fire. On the Earth fleet side, they also understand the seriousness of the situation. Okay, everyone now understands what a dangerous situation we are facing now. The next war may be a life and death war for us. But we cannot give up. If we give up, if we retreat, the resource stars behind us will be controlled by the enemy. In the future, the entire Earth civilization will lack the minerals of these resource stars, and it may even cause a great rout of the entire Earth. So we cannot retreat. In this war, I can guarantee that Earth civilization did not deliberately send us to death. I hope everyone can correct their mentality, disband now, and prepare for the next life and death battle. After the pre-war mobilization training at the highest level of the fleet, all the soldiers returned to their rooms. Of course, some people could not settle down and chatted among themselves. The same goes for Doha. Although he is proud that he has inherited the warrior blood of his parents, when it comes to the first war, he feels that it is impossible to correct his mentality. Even the pride from his parents is about to be frightened. Knocked away. Haha, our little Doha friend, are you afraid? Suddenly, a low chuckle reached Doha's ears. Doha looked up and saw Sci-Fi wearing the driver's combat uniform, smiling generously in front of him. Xiaoqi, I really admire your mentality. Aren't you still afraid at this time? I thought I was a mentally sound person, but it turns out you are better than me. Doha showed an expression of admiration. Xiaoqi had an expression that said, I'm not afraid of anything in heaven or on earth. What am I afraid of? I haven't seen any scenes before. I've seen them all during the Kaowi Defense Line War. Really? Kaowo Defense Line. I heard that Kaowo defense line back then was a defense line with tens of thousands of base stars and hundreds of millions of sky level and above warriors alone, right? Have you really seen it? Doha is extremely surprised. You have to know how ordinary people on Earth can imagine such a terrifying defense line. The 800 warships now forming a defense line at the edge of the solar system are already extremely spectacular to Doha. He simply couldn't imagine what it would be like on the Kaowo defense line with hundreds of millions of creatures and hundreds of thousands or even millions of battleships together. Seeing his suspicious look, Shizuoki got angry, and then talked about the Kaowo defense line that she had seen back then. She was so precise that she could even tell secrets that ordinary Kaowo defense line soldiers didn't know. Doha was stunned for a moment. What a terrifying line of defense, but that line of defense was also defeated by the enemy we faced, right? Can we really win this time? After Doha heard this, he thought that the one who defeated that terrifying line of defense was the enemy they were about to face, and he couldn't help but fell silent. Don't be afraid. I'm telling you, when the time comes, you follow me and I promise to protect you. It's a sister's duty to protect her brother. Shizuoki straightened out her delicate little breasts again, seeming to be very high-spirited. Said. Doha opened his mouth. He wanted to say that he didn't want to be the other person's younger brother, but when he saw Shizuoki's big, watery eyes, he shut up again. He felt that he was not strong enough. If he were strong enough, he would not make Shizuoki look down on him like this. After the two chatted, they returned to their rooms. What Doha didn't expect was that Jiakai, who looked like Madaha, turned slightly pale after returning to his warrior room. No pop-up novel website. The copyright of all novels included in this site belongs to the author. The plot content and book reviews are his personal behavior and have nothing to do with the position of No Pop-Up Novel Network. All novels and novel reviews on this novel site are spontaneously updated and uploaded by netizens. It only represents the personal behavior of the publisher and has nothing to do with the position of this novel site. All authors are requested to abide by the National Internet Information Management regulations when publishing their works. We reject any pornographic novels and will delete them as soon as they are discovered. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 1113. How could I not be afraid when I think about that kind of level battle? Chiachi clenched her fist slightly. But, uncle, I will avenge you personally. Jiakai's fighting spirit boiled. A light flashed across the sky. Following this ray of light, a 2-kilometer-long battleship split into two pieces and shattered into pieces. And beside it, there were hundreds or even thousands of similarly damaged warships. The fourth enemy fleet. Not far from the broken fleet, a huge monster with mouthparts seemed to be the culprit of all this. He is Jia Yan. He turned over and entered the superfast ship in the subspace. Now, he already has the means to stabilize objects in the subspace. Otherwise, this superfast ship is different from a black hole and has no control over placing it in the subspace. It is very likely to be destroyed by the power of distortion. Jia Yan's mentality was extremely relaxed. During this period of time, he used the gravitational wave system to move quickly. The gravitational waves were much faster than the gravitational waves in the subspace. If he wanted to reach the surface speed of the gravitational waves in the subspace, he had to enter at an extremely deep level. It is even impossible with Jia Yan's current spatial talent. But the gravitational wave system is different and can reach extremely fast speeds on the surface. Jia Yan moved around at various places within half a light year at an extremely fast speed. He defeated 4 enemy troops in a row within half a month. This is simply impossible at normal sailing speeds. This is the reason why everyone mistakenly believes that there are many giant mosquito creatures around the Earth civilization. Even people from the Great Empire don't think it can be achieved through the gravitational wave system, Because no warship in their gravitational wave system can withstand long-term flight in the gravitational wave system. Now the fourth fleet is dead. The last one is probably going to have a battle with one of Earth's enemy fleets. I hope this Earth fleet will suffer too many casualties before I arrive. Although Jia Yan's mentality was relaxed, his speed did not stagnate much, because the last enemy warship was already close to the edge of the solar system. In this case, the Earth side might still fight with the opponent due to the slow intelligence. In this case, there will inevitably be casualties on the Earth side, which is not what Jia Yan wants to see. Entering the gravitational wave system again, headed towards the direction of the last enemy fleet, and rushed away. In a land half a light year away, with the current technology of Earthlings, if there were no other civilizations to give you new information, it might take a long time for them to know that these fleets had perished. And coincidentally, except for the two places where Jia Yan fought with several fleets, which were discovered by the passing exile civilization ships, no one discovered the other two places, so until now, everyone thought that there were still several fleets marching towards the Earth. Emergency assembly, the enemy fleet appears at coordinates at 2523, 4819, combatants please enter their positions. On this day, the war that should be encountered began. When the assembly alarm sounded, Doha was eating in the canteen, but halfway through the meal, he jumped up when he heard the alarm. Doha, gather, quickly. The pilots and soldiers around him all ran nervously. Among them, Doha, who had the highest score, seemed to be the sole figure. After all, in the eyes of ordinary novice pilots, Shizuoki's origins are mysterious, and she seems to know that this is not her first time learning to drive a mecha, so they are more convinced by Doha, who is also a newbie and has become the number one. The few people hurried on, and when they arrived at the meeting point, Doha and others were surprised to find that Shizuoki had already put on combat uniforms and was standing at the meeting point waiting for them. You are late, hurry up and get in line. Shizuoki looked at them and nodded, especially to Doha. Most novice pilots were confused about the fact that Shizuoki, whom they had never seen except for training, was actually in the battle sequence. In fact, they had discussed it secretly, and they all felt that Shizuoki's her status is unusual. Even though she is very powerful in combat, she should not be sent to the battlefield. But the scene before them made them slightly frightened. Okay, fellow newcomers, our mission is to be in the back row. If the enemy breaks through the fleets and mechas on the front, it will be our turn. Rookies who are on the battlefield for the first time, are you ready? A bald man appeared in front of the novices and yelled like this. Ready. All the new mobile armor pilots roared angrily. Among the sounds, Shizuoki's heroic voice was the most obvious. Very good. The bald man looked at Shizuoki in particular, and a less obvious look of worry flashed through his eyes. But at this moment, he didn't say anything. Instead, he and Shizuoki nodded calmly, and then announced that all the novices would log into the mecha. Doha felt that when the battle was about to begin, his heartbeat was much faster than usual. He never thought that at the juncture of the war, he who should have inherited the blood of his parents' soldiers would be so nervous. Damn, I shouldn't be like this, why are my feet soft? Doha walked towards the mecha combat platform, but his heart kept telling him that he could not continue walking over. But a charming figure ran past him like the wind. Little guy, are you scared? Geez. Shizuoki's mocking voice rang in his ears. I'm not afraid, Doha roared angrily, and then rushed towards his mecha like crazy. On the platform in front of you, there are hundreds of mechas that are more than 20 meters high. They look like the ones that often appeared in science fiction movies before various crises occurred on the Earth. They look exciting. Next to these hundreds of humanoid mechas, hundreds of new and old pilots, nervous and full of fighting spirit, methodically entered their mechas and stood by. The tall mecha needs a lifting platform to help get into the cockpit. After getting on the lifting platform, feeling the shaking of the lifting platform, Doha swallowed, and then looked at the very unique pink mecha next to him. This mecha is different from other mechas. Although the shape is similar, not to mention the color, there seems to be a bulging protrusion on the back, with a faint unique structure. On the lifting platform of the pink mecha, Zyuki was also rising, which showed that she was the owner of the mecha. Thinking of the other party's previous teasing, Doha became angry and looked at the other party. "Come on, don't die." Doha Zyuki turned away from her previous contemptuous look and whispered to him dozens of meters away, then turned over and entered the open mecha. Doha was stunned for a moment, and then he understood in his heart that just now he stabbed Zyuki deliberately to stimulate and cheer himself up. After entering the mecha operating cabin and seeing the protective cover closed, Doha also thought to himself, "Don't die either, Zyuki." All the freshmen were taking deep breaths. Even though everyone knew that this was destined to be a near-death war, they would not retreat or risk their lives. This is what a warrior should be. "Uncle, you have to protect me." Contrary to what Doha thought, in the pink battleship, Jia-Chi's hands were shaking a little. She picked up a cheap cartoon pendant that Jia Yan gave her on her birthday that year and kept praying. But the war did not stop because of the prayers of this group of novices. 5 minutes after the alarm sounded, a huge explosion resounded throughout the entire battleship space. The war has begun. The mothership was attacked by an enemy gun. The protective cover lost 70% of its energy. The power engine experienced energy instability. Please release the mecha troops to interfere while the mothership retreats. In the battleship command room, a voice came from the command auxiliary system. Then the commander-in-chief of the mothership was silent for a while, and then nodded with a bitter laugh. "Let them go, Princess Jia-Kai, don't let me become a lost cause." He smiled bitterly because he understood what kind of existence there was in this mecha unit. Even if their entire fleet was destroyed, it was not as important as her life. But now during the war, he had to follow the rules of war. Act. Mecha members, please note that you will be released from the battle in 3 seconds. For good luck. In the mecha, Jia-Kai heard this voice, and then her whole breath froze. Is this the feeling of tension before a battle? The feeling that uncle will feel before every battle? Jia-Kai looked at her palms that were shaking constantly even though she was holding the mecha tightly, her red lips pursed tightly, as if she was gritting her teeth. She was nervous, and her nervousness affected her mood. Then she looked at the cartoon pendant hanging. "Don't be afraid, Jia-Chi, you are the most powerful person in the Orion arm and Jia Yan's niece." Is Jia Yan's niece afraid of fighting? Is Jia Yan's niece afraid of fighting? No. Because I am Jia-Chi. Because I am the blood of the Jia family. The heroic Jia-Chi came back, and she recalled the scene when, under the leadership of her uncle, she came to this same place on the edge of the solar system to fight against the fleet of the Asta Empire. The girl yelled. 3 seconds passed. The hatch in front of the mecha opened instantly, and then an ejection force suddenly sprayed her pink mecha to the outside world. At the same time, Doha beside her was also ejected from the cabin door at this moment. Also sprayed out at the same time were hundreds of mechas driven by the same mecha combatants. From the perspective of the universe, the scene at this time was extremely spectacular. On the 2-kilometer-sized mothership, the hatches were opened on both sides at the same time, and then hundreds of fighting mechas shining with metallic light were like dumplings, one by one heading towards throwing out all around. "Newbies, follow me and fight." In front of the novice team, in the first mecha to be ejected, a bald man shouted in the cockpit. "War!" What responded to him was the loud shouts of more than 200 novice pilots, including Jia-Chi. RW. No pop-up novel website.